You look good. You're not on mute. I want to have this beautiful picture. I'm trying to figure out how to get this picture in my screen. So beautiful. Oh, there we go. That's nice. That's nice. What's up, Jose?
Doing good, doing good. Can't complain. How you guys doing?
Like, how good? I want to know everything.
Good. Good. I had an appointment today, so that's always it's always a learning process, you know. And I had fun. The seller wanted way too much for the property, but I was able to, continue to get better at my negotiating skills. I was getting better at just adding value. You know, I was able to tell him, hey, I'm not the guy, that you want to purchase your house because I'm an investor, but you should definitely list your house. You're adding value, educating the public. It's always a good feeling.
That's good. So do you mind going through that? We're obviously finding ourselves there a lot. I just went through a training last night with you and our agents, but tell me what happened. You got there and was it a beautiful house, or how'd the lead come in? Go through it.
Well, the lead came in. Centfuse has been updating their program. So what happened is they changing how they bill people. And so the system wasn't pushing out the letters because, each letter is supposed to be sent at a certain time. So they kind of sent all of them at the same time. So some people getting 2 or 3 letters in 1 week. So it actually forced them to respond even faster. So I got I think last week 4 calls. Please don't call me anymore. Don't take me off your list. And this guy was like, hey, if you want to come check out the house, I'm gonna be here at 8:30 in the morning. You're more than welcome. You can come look at the house. And so I wanted to I did my laptop analysis, and I drove by, and what I realized was that they have a house right next door that was being rehabbed. Somebody purchased it for $775, ran out of money, so then they sold it to another investor. So I was actually going to try to leverage that as a way to possibly get it for a cheaper price than $775, where the numbers would work. But I mean, his house was just in great condition. It wouldn't even make sense.
Got it. Okay.
They sold the house next door for $775, and he wanted $900. And he was like, well, do you want to make me an offer? I go, I don't want to disrespect you. I go, my offer is not going to be nowhere near what you want. I go, as you know, the house next door is sold for X, So he knew the whole situation with next door and everything. But we just built a good rapport.
Nice. That's awesome. Good. We have found a lot of times where we go to a seller's apartment, and obviously it's in just beautiful turnkey condition, right? And it's basically built for a retail sale. It's not built for an investor sale. So that's kind of where we end up doing that transition, where we're happy to do this. We obviously have the service we provide. One of the other angles we've taken is we found a lot of inefficiencies in the traditional real estate market, where there's waiting for financing, and you have to spruce up a house for an open house. You have to kind of make it showable, where investors can come in and cut the time in half and help you with all these other items. So that's another angle we've taken. But typically, if it's in good shape, even if they're motivated, how much more can we get them on a retail sale versus an investor offer? And you did the right thing. If they're about the money, you did the right thing.
Yeah, and it was funny because one of the reasons I took this lead was, I guess the postcard says, I make cash offers. And he was like, oh, you make cash offers. You should definitely come by. But that's not what he's really looking, because he doesn't have a timeline. There's no reason for him to move except that he wants a single family for his family. Instead of having a 2-family, he wants a single family. That's his reason to move. That's not a timeline. He's not in distress or anything like that.
Yep. Got it. So not really motivation. That's okay. That's all right. Yeah. That was a drive-by lead too, though, right? That's a Centfuse, you said?
No, what happened was I saw there was a house on the street that they had an open house. An investor was trying to sell it instead of doing the project. And so what ended up happening was I just sent letters to the whole street, because I was like, this is a good street. So I kind of targeted the neighborhood instead of just a drive-by.
Nice. All right, good stuff.
But I think the leads are definitely starting to come in a lot more. One guy even called yesterday, and he was like, hey, I got it off a tax list for the city of Medford, And he goes, I'm not looking to sell, but definitely in September, I'll be looking to sell at that time. I want to get done with the summer. And I say, hey, is it okay if I reach out and keep following up with you through the process? You know, every couple of weeks or every month. He goes, yeah, that's fine. You have my contact. You have my phone number. And it's a free family. So I'm excited.
It especially works when you dump out about 6,000 Senfuse cards at once. Definitely works.
Yeah, exactly.
That is awesome. Good stuff, man. I see we have a new gentleman joining us. We've got Bernard on, and he unmutes himself. This is brilliant.
What's going on? How you doing?
How are you doing?
Nick. I'm doing pretty
great,
good.
man. That's awesome. Your name is very familiar, and I think, Rob, you'll see his name on a deal that we are now working on with Bernard.
Yep. That's right.
Bernard, welcome to the Open Q&A, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you allowing me to jump on real quick.
No, always, man. Tell us what you got going on in your business, and if any questions, Q&As, whatever you got.
I think business overall, so I've been in technology sales for a very long time, and I've always had the real estate bug. Decided to jump on full time when my last contract had ended for a Microsoft technology firm. So, and since finding deals is marketing, a lot of marketing. I mean, that's really all I do. So I jumped in, both feet and have been pushing it hard. I've decided to focus a lot on. I'm going to focus on a lot of cold calling, absentee. I've done some probate stuff, and I've got a lot of bird dogs out there. I've got my name plastered pretty much on everything, everywhere, just trying to get myself out there. So, I mean, it's coming in. I mean, even today alone, I got a couple of bird dogs who've reached out to me and have, is excited because, he's excited he's going to get this referral fee. He's got this house that's been vacant, found out it's a friend of his that owns it, and it's just sitting there, and they just want to dump it.
Nice.
What area is this, Bernard? Where do you work in? What area?
So I'm based out of Auburn, Mass, but
Okay.
I'm trying to keep it. I mean, as much as I would love for everything to be in my backyard, it's not always the case. So I am keeping within a 50 to a 60-mile radius. I try not to go into Eastern Mass if possible. So I do a lot of Central. I'll even go down into Connecticut, Rhode Island, in Western Mass stuff.
Interesting. You don't hear that a lot. People don't want to go into Eastern Mass. That's good. That's good.
I think there's definitely not enough going on in Eastern Mass. I'm finding there's definitely competition everywhere, but I'm definitely finding a lot less competition in this area.
Fabulous. I think area. You're from around there, right? You're from Springfield. Huh?
No, I'm from Boston.
Oh, you are?
Well, I have that two-family I had for like 10 years up in Springfield, so you always think that.
That's right. I do always think that. Usually, yeah, because the internet connection wouldn't actually work if you were calling from Springfield. That's like a bazillion miles away. I don't even know if they have internet out in Springfield. I don't even know.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm just messing with you. And I should mess with Bernard since he's the one who lives in Auburn, and I didn't even know they had internet in Auburn either. That's crazy.
Hey! That's the it's the Worcester area is the next Cambridge. I mean, have you been downtown lately? It's unbelievable.
Jose, you heard him, right? The next Cambridge, man.
The next
Maybe
Cambridge.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Hey, what is it? The downtown project in Worcester. They're saying is the second most expensive in the state to the Big Dig.
That's not something to brag about, though.
That's awesome. But good stuff, Bernard. So you've got basically all your marketing up and out. And you're, just to be clear too, this is an open Q&A. So Bernard, I don't believe you're not a complete deal flow student, right? You don't have, you're doing your own thing. You've got your own knowledge and training, right? So you've got bandit signs out there. Do you have bandit signs out?
I think, in not joining any type of program like your system has allowed me to stumble and pretty much hit every rookie mistake there is, focusing on, having the shiny object syndrome, as well as, just kind of spreading myself thin instead of, focusing on one avenue and kind of mastering that one avenue and then moving on. So I did have some of the bandit signs. I did, and I actually got a few calls from those, surprising to me because there isn't really many bandit signs in this area. I do see some here and there, but what I've decided to do is scale back on that. I find that cold calling, since I've done I've had a lot of this experience cold calling. Cold calling is what I'm going to focus on a lot. And I want to get to the point where, you know, I'm making 500-600 calls a day, and I can do it in my sleep. And then I can I'm going to, you know, bring that on and have you know, my VA start doing that. Or actually not my VA that I have now, but somebody who is more focused in the sales area that can do that for me. So that's really kind of what I'm targeting. And the mailers that I'm sending out are more probate related stuff. I was sending out kind of general mailers, but you know, I've been finding that cold calling is probably going to be my avenue for right now, just because you could touch so many more people and in a quicker amount of time and get more no's or more yeses than you know, somebody who's receiving, you know, 100 mailers or 100 postcards and just happens to call mine back.
Got it. Awesome. Is that one right now? Who's got the call coming in?
You know?
Sounds like money.
No, it's some Ohio number that keeps calling me because they're looking for places to put veterans in. It's a ringless voicemail drop.
Gotcha. That's awesome though. So you've got your systems together though now, it sounds like, and that's I mean, we cold calls, I mean, you know, Jose, Erie, Rob, we talk about that a lot right now, where every one of their brothers, a lot of I mean, direct mail is important. It's what we call a touch, but I think cold calls right now are you're eliminating, I'd say 70% of the market, right, of people who are doing direct mail only, and at least now you're getting to that personal face-to-face touch. And I want to give Bernard credit here, guys, too. So Bernard sent us a deal. I think I saw you post it somewhere in one of the groups, but
posted everywhere.
You posted everywhere, right? That was good though.
It was everywhere. It was, yeah.
And I think you might now know this, and it's funny how this happened. The person you're co-wholesaling that with had sent us that deal about 6 weeks ago, but
I know.
He sent it to us as a whole different value play. We had gotten a thing in our mailbox about some condo conversion opportunity in a town that wasn't close by, and we don't really know this area. And Rob and I weren't doing condo conversions. We're starting to, but we are doing multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
So Bernard posts this deal that, of course, me with my memory, I remember nothing from day to day, and even the picture familiar to me. But we're like, Bernard, that's a great deal, man. Or like, send it over. Like, let's see what we can do. And the way you packaged it, and your I don't even know if that was your rehab walkthrough, but that YouTube video was flawless. You covered everything in it. It just made it super, super easy to take action on a deal that we didn't even have to see, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you get full credit for that, and you were able to sell it where your co-wholesaler really couldn't, because he had put it at a whole different value play that we weren't even interested in. So we didn't even regard it at that time. You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
I appreciate that. I mean, so I had I dug deep too to find sellers. I mean, I was pulling, you know, recent sold properties. I even had advertisements going on in Colorado. Because the Colorado investments are so difficult right now that they're expanding outside of that, and I'm actually working with buyers in Colorado that are investing in Massachusetts because it's impossible for them to find any great deals out in that area. So I went deep. I went real deep. I was calling people that weren't online. I was digging into, you know, recent sales, you know, reaching out to, you know, anybody who had similar recent sales. I wanted to make sure that anybody who came across that got the full scope of what they were getting into, and, you know, had that ability to just, you know, make that instant decision so that we can get that off. And obviously it worked for you. So
awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, it was awesome. And just so you guys know, it didn't mean to be like sketchy, not give details out. It's a 6-unit in Southbridge, Massachusetts, which is what we ended up getting. And we didn't know Southbridge, but you know, being able to kind of pull numbers online and having him do a full like 15-minute rehab walkthrough. I want to hear him yell. Jose, what's the dog's name?
Diamond.
Diamond. Oh, I love Diamond. Put Diamond on the screen so we can see her. But yeah, it was just an easy thing for us to say yes to, Bernard, and thank you, man, for doing an open and shut case like that. Your package was good, your walkthrough was impeccable, and I wish more wholesalers would do stuff like what you did. So thank you.
Yep.
So Nick, full transparency.
Sure.
That's going to be my first deal.
Okay.
Really?
Yep.
Good for you.
That's how obsessive I am in this industry. It's to the point where I'm dreaming it, okay? So I've listened to enough stuff, I've done enough research to hear what other people are doing that's working for them, and making it as easy as possible for buyers was definitely one of those things to be able to see it. So this deal that you and I are going to do, or Adam co-wholesaling with, is going to be my official first deal closed since I've started doing this full time.
I'm going to see, well, I can't share my screen on this part. I was going to show them your YouTube video, but I don't think it's going to let me do that on this one right here. But yeah, if you guys want to check out his video, I'm happy to share the address. Everyone on this Q&A, Bernard, so that you know, is like super high integrity people, and we do post it on some of our social media channels. But you know, we're pretty much solid with you guys too. I know your co-wholesaler really, really well. In fact, whether you knew it or not, he's a former student of ours, Complete Deal Flow System.
Yeah.
And I'll give him full credit too. His name is Frandy. He's awesome guy. He's been through a few of our classes, and now he obviously teaches his own course, his own classes, where he's from down there. And he's made a hell of a business for himself, doing deal flow, single family fix and flips, multifamily. He's got a hell of a business down there. So we give him full props as well for that. But did you have I don't know, did you have a question you wanted to go through, Bernard? So now that we know it's maybe your first deal, maybe are you involved in something else where you kind of just wanted to pose questions to the group or anything, or? So
I have one, and it's really more of, it's one of those things where the gut says you should probably walk away. But deep down, the desperation in me making it my second deal is telling me I don't want to do that. And I don't even know where to begin to even explain the situation, because I don't know, it involves it possibly involves some maybe some fraudulent stuff from other people. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll try to, and bear with me, my ADD kicks in and I start thinking of all the other things I want to throw out there. So I'll try to, squeeze this all in together. It was somebody who responded to my probate lead. They said, hey, we got a house for sale. I go out there and, in my initial conversations with them, I try to understand their motivation. I try to make sure they don't want to list it with their realtor. I want to find out why. I try to find out everything to make sure this is a true motivated deal before I drive out there to go see it. They tell me there's no mortgage on this property, but I do see that there is one recorded. So I'm like, all right, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll check it out. I go down there and I talk to them, and I brought it up to him again, and he still isn't sure of what's going on. These people aren't exactly the most, it's your typical place. Hell, it looked like that video you just went through recently for us in Lowell. The place was really kind of, we'll just say it's gross, right? So they don't exactly are doing a really great job record keeping. So I'm kind of maybe thinking, maybe they just don't really know what they did, but they truly don't know what they signed, or at least that's what they're telling me. They apparently were contacted by, from what I'm told, is a major player wholesaler in the area, and they had him sign some paperwork. The wholesaler told them to get him some money. They would take care of the remaining probate work that's needed to switch the house into their name, because it was their parents that passed away. They don't know anything. They don't have any copies of paperwork, but you go on and there's a mortgage in place by that same company for a pretty substantial amount of money that's due in 1 year. Speaking to a realtor friend of mine who's in that area, she tells me that she is aware of this company, and they're not exactly known for being the very most honest company. And so it kind of seems like maybe what they did was give them this loan, which they didn't see any money, to make it impossible for them to close out on this place so they can foreclose on it. She did a little bit more digging, spoke to her attorney, and there might be some other stuff going on that's building up against them. My thing is that I've got these people, they want to sell me their property. I don't think,
Can we back up though? No, hold on, I'm trying to follow. So they contacted you through your mailers, like these people, and it's a probate deal, so someone in their family passed away.
Yes,
right?
Their parents passed away. And
they couldn't afford the probate, to open up a probate to get the license to sell it to you. That's their issue. They didn't have $4,000 or whatever it was.
They don't have anything. These people haven't even had insurance on that. Their parents died in 2012. They don't even have house insurance since then. They can't afford anything.
Okay. All right. So typically, and this, you're good so far because that's normal. So someone reaches out to you, hey, I've got this house. I don't know what to do with it. I don't have any money to sell it to you, but it's sort of should be in my name. I'm, one of the heirs. I'm an executor or something.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, just so that, for the record, everybody in this business, that happens a lot. And what we then do is sometimes we'll offer to front. For us, it's about $4,000, $4,000 to $5,000 to open up a probate. Another attorney to open up a probate that represents them to get that license to sell, so those heirs could then sell to us as the buyer. But go ahead. Now I'm following you, so we're there. Keep going.
So, and I think that may have been how they position it to the sellers, but it's just the amount that they got was substantial. It's over $30,000.
So this is another buyer, though. So they had contacted another buyer, and this other buyer had said, hey, we can do that, but you're going to sign a mortgage for $30,000 on this property.
They don't even know what they signed. That's the problem, is the seller's not giving me any, either they truly don't know, which is a very good possibility, or they're not telling me something. Okay. So, and even when I went there, my cash offer to them was less than what they owed. So, okay. Not by a lot, but it's still less than what they owed. And they were even agreeing to try to sell it to me for that. But, doing some more digging, I'm like, you can't. You still have back taxes. So the back taxes, this mortgage, it's not even enough to be able to do this transaction. So I don't know. I think what's got me scared is just, I have this friend who contacted a lawyer who kind of might know some stuff about this company, who's saying, think of a situation from the 80s where he was just a closing attorney and he was brought into a lawsuit. So if they're doing some shady stuff, you should just simply walk away. But in my mind, if I just simply wholesale this and I treat it like a normal mortgage, is that, how would that affect me?
This is interesting. I'm going to let Rob speak to this as the attorney background, but
I have nothing to say about this. I have no idea.
Yeah, and I'm not even telling the story, well enough, I'm sure, for you guys. It's just because there's so much going on.
It's catching me, though. I like this because this could be either a creative deal or, like you said, someone's doing something sketchy, right? But
to be honest with you, my initial thought is, I'm like, okay, great. All they really need is just a little bit of money to get an apartment and move on with their life. I'll do a land contract. I'll take over the debt. I'll just clean up the mess and I'll put it on the market and I'll wholesale it out there. And it would be like a win situation for all of us. But now that I'm thinking about what's going on, I don't want my name associated with this. I don't want to take over this debt if there's something shady with this debt. So then I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll just wholesale it instead. But
another investor was trying. It sounds like what could have been happening is that either another investor was trying to, I don't want to say defraud, or they could have been trying to protect themselves if they had an agreement with the seller that they didn't know they signed, saying, hey, we'll maybe buy and rehab it, right, mm-hmm. and split the profit or something. So they wanted to protect themselves against their own initial investment into the property, so they signed a mortgage at that point. But here's the bigger issue. They must have signed that mortgage with who was originally on title, who's now passed away. Because one of the new heirs can't sign a mortgage on that property if they're not even the rightful owner yet. You know what I mean? If they haven't gone through probate. It hasn't
gone through probate, so.
The paperwork on Mass Land Records shows the existing owners that I'm talking to signed it.
Existing owners, but it's a probate deal, right?
It's a probate deal. No.
No. I guess maybe it's a possibility. They show up under the deed, so maybe. But they show up under the deed with their, the name and then the EST, after it. Which is that not enough for them to be able to legally do anything or sign for it?
Everybody, anyone who's on title is going to have to sign off, and it's going to have to go through probate if the person who passed away is on title.
Yeah, typically the dead person's name is on the title. That's why they have to go through probate, right? So is it the deceased name that's on the deed, or no, these new people are on the deed and they're the ones you're talking to?
I have to look it back up now just to even.
Okay.
I'll tell you in 2 seconds.
Bottom line, though, Bernard, I would not move forward without having an attorney do a full title search and see exactly what's going on.
Yeah, a title search. We work closely. You probably have your own attorney out there, Bernard. We work very closely with Grinnelli and Schlesinger out of Wakefield. I think they charge, I mean, if you have to front the money for it, which, you know, hopefully they'll get the deal if we close on it, but I think they're like $400 or so. I don't want to quote them, but
I'm actually working with Krista.
And that's
Krista
even
Emerson. Perfect.
Emerson? Yeah, I know Krista. And even if you're going to wholesale it, do that. I wouldn't move forward in any capacity without that, honestly, because you're either going to waste your time and not do a title search and try to wholesale it, or you know you're going to run into this issue is going to come up. It's definitely going to come up. If you found it, there's no question.
So all right. So I think the question is, all right. So I guess there's also the possibility if they signed a PNS with this company. I mean, they don't even know what paperwork they sent. So I guess, and from what I'm told, this company is advertising this house.
Okay.
Somewhere.
So they have an interest in it then already.
So they must have an interest, either that or they're advertising it when they shouldn't be advertising it. Which is
They're trying to get their 30 grand. They put a mortgage on the property. Interesting. I think I see what's going on now. So even if they don't even have a PNS, but if they close on if they buy the house, I think I see what's going on. And yes, this is sketchy. So they got a, which is probably signed by people that shouldn't have even signed that mortgage. And they went down to the registry, recorded that mortgage on that property, even though it wasn't an appropriately signed mortgage. And now, even if they don't have a PNS on it, now they can just go and try to sell it because whoever buys it has to pay them off their 30 grand. So they make 30 on it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, that's not good at all, Bernard.
No, his name isn't Adam Chase either, or Richard Chase, or whoever that. Did you see that transaction that just the big one that they just that similar situation that Fox News just reported on this morning?
Yeah, why is that name so familiar? Richard, that name's.
He also went by something Seymour.
He goes by Seymour?
Richard Chase is his real name. He also went by the name of Adam Seymour.
Wow.
He, I guess he recorded a fake deed transfer of a property in Cambridge.
Yes. Yes.
His cop was involved and received the wholesaler fee. So that's what got me scared, because now, you know, their name, they've got the Newton cop's name in the middle for receiving an assignment fee. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, so he's acting as a wholesaler, you know, and he's being brought up. So, like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, I really need to, actually, you know, I got to call it to Krista.
Yeah.
I want to talk to her about this situation today before I did anything, because I honestly, I want that research before I even send a PNS out to these people.
100% agree. Yeah, Krista's now involved. That's your best bet. And definitely, is it Richard Chase's name on this deal? He's on the mortgage?
No, it's very similar. It just reminds me of a very similar.
Yeah. Yep. Anytime with the thing that I remember from before, right? So back in 2005, 2006, there were a lot of people that were doing, it was kind of foreclosure rescue scams. The scam part was noted by when investors would come in and have the homeowner sign stuff they didn't know they were signing. A lot of those were deeds. Mm-hmm. So then they would a quick claim deed, go right to the registry, record it. So now the ownership has changed, right? But now they still owe, you know, the debt is still owed on the property. So now it's kind of like a subject to deal, but the owner did not know what was happening, right? And they put it into a trust, or they put it into their name. That is now obviously completely not just frowned upon. That's just straight out illegal.
Illegal.
And then this other thing, we're getting involved with it yet again, called equity stripping from back in those days, where, you know, someone would owe $200,000 on a house, and an investor, they just need it out because they're motivated, and an investor would come in and, you know, offer them $205 just so they could get out, right? You know, and need it quick, even if market value, let's say, was $500,000. And there's no real math problem to figure, okay, well, that's equity stripping and that's not. It's like, if the court thinks you totally took advantage of this person, you could be found liable for this equity stripping thing that happened, right? Or if they're providing, in our case that we're dealing with now, we're providing an extra service to that homeowner. We're dealing with one in Maine right now. We did it on, I think, the Q&A 2 or 3 weeks ago, where these homeowners want to live in the property and they're losing it to foreclosure based on a divorce and all sorts of lots of issues. And we're being very, very careful, because we literally can only pay like $2,000 more than their loan, which to any other attorney in the world is going to look just like an equity stripping deal. So what we were advised with by our attorneys is to have another attorney, have them get an attorney, so that they can at least be advised, hey, these guys are scam artists, or no, this does seem like a fair deal and you should move forward. And as long as they have an attorney, that they're in good shape. That was my ADD going off topic from what you were talking about, Bernard. But I was going through like, those were the things I remember as the red flags, were like the deed changing hands. In this case, a false mortgage being filed. I mean, if they're just filing stuff like that, that's a huge red flag, especially Massachusetts. I'm sure that would go right to the fraud statute. Rob, does that sound right to you? I mean,
Yep. Sounds right.
Period. So
would you say that you would just simply walk away?
I would say that here's you got to look at what the scenarios are, right? You're going to have to go through probate no matter what to get a license to sell, right? So
Okay.
you're also going to have to front the money for a title search. If you think it's a big enough wholesale fee, then maybe you do that.
And that's a risk. That money's at risk, though, Bernard. So you're
definitely at risk. Yeah. Really. So it just depends on the financials of the deal. I mean, it's not. Obviously, the ones that are difficult to do like this can sometimes be worth it, but at other times you're putting your money up. If you're okay possibly losing that money, then yeah. I mean, it's not. I would never say don't do it, but just know you could lose it.
I mean, financial wise, the house was looking at about 55,000 in rehab costs. I would be acquiring it at about 43 in. So, I was seeing comps. I was seeing comps around 170, but the exact same house. I mean, literally the same house was rehabbed and sold for 219 about 4 blocks away. It was on a less busier street.
When was that sold?
It's still pending sale. It's still going through. But the sale price is $219.
So you've got profit there. You'd be wholesaling it for. Would you try to back or sign the contract? What would you be doing on that one?
It depends on what's going on. So I actually, that same deal that somebody rehabbed and got a $219 for. I looked at the owner and I called him, I had talked to him, let him know that I've got something that's very close by. It's literally the same house. It's the same setup, so he might be interested. Plus, I got a couple others. So I'm not sure yet. I honestly was going to do the whole Sean Terry highest and best type thing. I'm not sure if that's the right way to go about it, but with me being in,
Go ahead, though. Keep going. Yeah.
What did the rehabber pay for the other one, for the other house?
I don't know his numbers. Basically, I was looking at the older photos that were on the MLS compared to the newer photos. I can't imagine it was very much. It's a lot less of a rehab job than what this one entails, that's for sure.
Okay.
This house had asbestos pipes, horsehair plaster that needs to be replaced. It needs a new kitchen, new bathroom. Existing hardwood floors can be refinished. 6 out of 6 of the windows are broken, even though they're newer windows. You're looking at exterior painting and front portico repair. So
sounds like more than 55 to me, to be honest with you. But
well, in our market, we don't know what Western Mass has for laborers and material cost. I heard that they just cut down trees and don't even mill them. They just use trees for like flooring and stuff out in Central Mass. Hey Bernard, one thing we totally forgot, which is going to change the whole dynamic of this deal. You said you're offering less than they owe, right? You're offering less than they owe on the property?
No.
Oh, you're still more. So you're above what they owe.
I went up to 43. I was looking. They owe 35 for the property. They owe 35 for the property. They owe $3,000 back taxes and maybe another $1,000 in miscellaneous stuff.
Okay, so you're in an equity deal at this point. Okay.
I upped my deal. Yeah.
If it makes sense as an equity deal, that's great. But now you still have to put up with all this crap with the probate. Here's how I would structure it. I wouldn't do a deposit if they just want to be helped out and you're just trying to help them out, right? You say, I can't do a deposit on this deal because I'm going to be putting out of my pocket, $4,500 for both to put this through probate as well as to do a title search to find out if we can put this through probate or what this other mortgage is or what we're going to do here. So I'm $4,500 out of pocket. Now, in your head, that means that when you go to wholesale this, you got to get a deposit of at least that amount of money from your end buyer to fund you, to cover you on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and as you know, the numbers that we run, we start with resale value first and foremost. So if you say one sold for 217, but that the comps are showing 180 or so, I go conservative. Yep, I would say at the 180. What we've run on this class before is our soft costs on a deal like that are 12% right off the top, because you're going to need, this is for a rehabber or a wholesaler. So the rehabber is going to get 5% for real estate commission off the top, 4% for holding costs, insurance, taxes, utilities, and interest, and then 3% for both sides of closing costs. Call it like 1 point on the sale, and then 2 points on the buy, depending on what their recording costs, legal fees, title insurance, all that stuff. So we take 12% right off the top. I'm going to do that for the 180,000 times 0.88. So we're at 158.4. You said construction was how much?
55.
55,000. So we're at 103.4. And how much do you want to make on it, Bernard?
My goal is always about $7,000.
Okay. First, we're going to talk about the profit on the rehabber side. Rehabber is going to need to make at least $30,000 typically. Okay, on a deal like this size. So I'm going to back out the $30,000 rehabber profit. Now I'm going to back out $10,000 for the wholesaler. Max allowable offer $63,400. So you're there, right? You're below that number, and you're clearing all of their costs supposedly until you do the title search. So is it worth it to you? Your wholesale fee on this maybe is between 10 and 15 grand. Maybe, if you can get it done. Is it worth putting $4,500 out as a risk to make that amount of money? That's a business decision for you.
Sure. So let me pick your brain. The asbestos piping was the only thing I wasn't sure on the rehab side. What would that entail cost-wise?
How many linear feet?
Linear feet. If I had to take a guess off of, I'd have to say at least, I don't know, anywhere between 50 to 70. It's all the basement piping.
I'd put if it's basement piping and like a long reach of the basement piping,
yeah,
that's going to be between $2,500 and $3,500 to remediate. If you want to get a nice laugh, Jose knows all about my Somerville job, which had a budget of approximately $6,000 to remediate the asbestos, and the neighbor decided to call the DEP on that before we even finished the remediation over there, which was all happening in an asbestos licensed way. So now that a deal that we have has been sitting for 4 months. But that's not your problem. You're just the wholesaler. So you're in good shape. That's a rehabber problem.
Wait till you see the asbestos mess in 63 River over in Southbridge.
Oh, beautiful. I'm super excited. So if that helps you at all, but you're still good. As far as the numbers we just ran, if your ARV is accurate and your construction's accurate, you're still in good shape. You've got a buffer of about, looks like $13,000. And that's with you making $10,000 in a wholesale fee.
Yeah. Okay.
Dick, I had a question for you.
Yeah, Jose.
Does this mean that basically in this market, that's how you're evaluating the deal? Taking the ARV, then minus the 12, and then minus whatever the construction, and then whatever you want to make out of it, instead of doing, minus multiplied by 0.07?
Nope, no, you nailed it right. You nailed it right. So what we do, oh, sorry, Rob, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that hasn't really changed. That's how we've always been doing it. But yeah, go ahead.
Jose, so our profit is not just $30,000. I was doing it that case because Bernard's a wholesaler, so I was backing out, construction first. We back out profit first, as you already know. And our profit's not $30,000. Our profit is a percentage of that ARV. Our percentage was 12%. So we would do 12% off the top, and then another 12% right off for our profit. So it's ARV times 0.76. I think that's right. Times point. I'm not the math guy. And then minus construction. That was our max offer. Now we've upped our profit back to 15%, just because we, where we think the market is headed. So if you want to use our formula, we're 12% and 15%. So 0.72. Is that accurate, Rob?
7.3.
So it's ARV times 0.73 minus construction. That's our formula for a fix and flip right now. Does that help?
We're taking into account more risk.
Yep.
So as a wholesaler, I go in and do
that definitely helps. I understand what you're saying.
Cool. All right, we've got 1 minute. Go ahead, Bernard.
No, I was going to say, as a wholesaler, I mean, that's honestly, I'm not even looking at my profit wanting to be 7,000. I go in ARV times, I do 65%.
Nice.
So that, obviously if the ARV is higher, then my profit hopefully would be a little higher as well. So 65% then minus construction equals my maximum allowable offer.
Perfect. You nailed it on that.
Yeah.
Guys, for those of you on this call, we have our rehab meetup this Wednesday night, 26 Byam Road in Chelmsford. It is at 6 to 8 p.m. Come on by. It's going to be another prehab. You get to see the rehab before it's done. It's a nice, big, oversized raised ranch. And we also have our July 21st rehab road trip, shutupanddoit.biz, if you're interested in those details to go and estimate rehabs, work with contractors, how to protect yourself.